Bluebirds of the Estes Valley. So we're not necessarily reestablishing the bluebirds, it's just that their numbers are relatively low due to loss of nesting sites, loss of habitat. So we're going to try to reestablish them. We have two species that normally nest up here. The western bluebird and the mountain bluebird. Western bluebird is kind of a cobalt blue with a rusty belly, and the mountains are all blue. They're related to thrushes, so they're related to the hermit thrush, the robin, the solitaire, and the Swainson's thrush. They arrive very early. The bluebirds are usually here in late February, often when there's still snow on the ground. Males usually arrive first, and the females arrive a few days later. There's three species of bluebirds that can be found in Colorado: the eastern bluebird, the western bluebird, and the mountain bluebird. Mountain is the most prevalent in Estes Park. First, the mountain bluebird. The male is beautiful sky blue. Female is a little more drab with blue wings. They prefer very open country. The more open the better, with sedges and things that they can perch on and fence posts that they can search for prey. Western bluebird is more of a cobalt blue with a rusty back and a rusty belly. Female again is similar but just a little more drab. They prefer what's called open ponderosa, so it's a little more dense than the mountain bluebird, but still pretty open. And eastern bluebirds show up occasionally, but they're more found in the east, of course, and they prefer more of the farm country that you'd find in the Midwest and farther east. These birds are all what are called secondary cavity nesters, which means they need to nest in a cavity, but they cannot produce one themselves. So they need a cavity made by a woodpecker, or a sapsucker, or of course a nest box. But people have put up nest boxes in the past, but they just never check them again, and so they all really fall apart. And as you see here, they're pretty broken. There's roofs that are cracked. Some are completely fallen apart, and birds can't use them. It means some have been broken for years, and they just aren't being used. Therefore, they're of no use to the bluebirds or any other cavity nesters. There's also a lot of bad designs. Sometimes they just hang them too low to the ground, or they just make them too doggone small for bluebirds to even be interested in. And they get filled with house wrens. They fill them with sticks, and then they're useless to any bird. And sometimes they put them in plastic pipes, and that just kills the babies because they can't get out of the box. So other birds often use these nest boxes as well. House wrens, tree swallows, violet green swallows, which is fine. But if you have those in their nests, this is what the nests look like. This is the nest of a house wren. It's made completely of sticks pretty much. And then if you find white feathers, it's usually nest is made by a tree swallow. If you find gray or brown feathers, a nest is made by a violet green swallow. So there's an enemy that bluebirds have, which is the Eurasian or European house sparrow. They come in, they move in, and they take over the bluebird boxes. They're also more aggressive than the bluebirds, and so the bluebirds can't use these boxes. And so when this happens, you just have to adjust by cleaning out the boxes. But bluebirds readily take to these boxes once they're in place. Put them in the proper habitat before February, and the birds, as they migrate in, tend to find them. If you put the bluebird boxes in big open meadows like this, you lessen the chance of house sparrows using the boxes. You got to clean the boxes from year to year, and that's very simple. Just reach in, grab the nest, pull it out, close the box, and you're done. You don't have to use bleach or soap or anything. Bluebirds have blue eggs, usually 5 to a nest. Sometimes they'll have a few more than 5, but normally 5 is the average clutch for bluebirds. Here you see 7 in a box. Here's some bluebird information. First of all, the nest itself is constructed by both male and female. It takes about a week. Then the female will start laying eggs, usually a week or so after the nest is completed. An incubation is done mostly by the female. And that takes about 2 weeks. The young actually remain in the nest about 3 weeks, and then they fledge. Then usually with the parents for about a month, and then they just disperse and they're on their own. But we're doing research on the bluebirds, and so we're checking the nest boxes to see how many young are in each box. And then once we check the boxes, and then we're going to actually put a little numbered leg band on every bird we can catch, and that way we can see what kind of nest site fidelity they have, where they're going from year to year, if they come back to the same site from one year to the next. And that's a very fun project. Here you can see a band on one of the youngster's legs. This is a fledgling, and you can see the band on its right leg. The band does not affect the bird at all. This is what fledgling bluebirds look like. They're kind of this grayish color with the blue wings, a spotting on the breast, spotting on the back. What do they feed upon? A lot of fruit, and then mealworms and other insects. They don't eat any kind of seeds. They just aren't able to digest seeds. So you have to be checking your boxes, at the end of the season to make sure they're cleaned out so that they're good for the following season. So we actually build these boxes, and as you go to purchase boxes, there's several different types, several different sizes, and they all work for bluebirds as long as they're in the proper location for bluebirds. But here we're going to start building these boxes for you, and you can come and pick them up, and here's how we're going to do that. We have nails, wood's already cut, and they have to put nails in the front, then put the sides together, nail those in. Then you have a three-sided box. Demark the back, put the back on, nail that in place, and then turn it upside down, put the bottom on, nail that in place, put the top on, put in one nail, one screw, box is done. And here's Larry Kilgore will explain the process here.
You're going to take the front, which has the hole in it. You take 4 nails and place them in the 4 corners that are already pre-drilled. Take the 2 sides. These are not drilled. There's no holes in these. You put it underneath the front. Very, very carefully line up the sides so that they are tight right along the edge. Take a hammer, and all that's for is to set them. You'll nail them all the way in. Then later, do both sides, just set them. Now you can set it and actually hammer them in. Don't hit your fingers. Now you turn that over. You take the back, which is the largest piece of wood you have. Take the back of the box. You have to draw a line 3 inches down from the top, and either end can be the top, makes no difference. 3 inches down with a little tick on both sides, because when you put this on, you put it on so that you're actually hiding your line. Line up the edges, put the nails in, same way you did in the front. On both sides, again, make sure they are lined up evenly against the edge. Tap it, tap it. Get this edge lined up also. Tap it. All right, now you need to have the bottom put on. To do that, it has to hang over the edge so it's flat. Take your bottom, which is the smallest piece you have in the 6 pieces that make up the box. Put your nails in. Put it on top of the box. Again, line it up. Tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it. And set it. Then turn it over so you can put the top on. As you can see with the top, you have a 45-degree angle on the one corner. You have a screw hole over on the opposite side. You put it on the box, line it up, make sure it's tight against the back. That allows the lid so you can open the box to clean it out. The final thing you need to have is a screw, and this is so that you can control opening and closing the box. You screw it down about halfway through, or you can go all the way in. It's up to you. Your birdhouse is done.
So if we build these boxes correctly and put them in the proper locations, we'll start to see bluebird numbers really increase in the Estes Valley. We have the mountain, the western, and very rarely the eastern will show up. So to recap, we're going to create and then maintain, of course, bluebird habitat, increase the numbers by putting up nest boxes for them, and then we're going to be doing some hopefully banding of these bluebirds so we can see hopefully where they winter, who comes back to what box. It'll be exciting. And ever wonder why bluebirds are actually blue? Well, it's actually a reflective color. There's actually no blue pigment in bird feathers, and so the light as it hits the bird reflects blue light, and that's why the birds appear blue. For more information, just go to the bluebirdsofestes.com website. And I want to thank a number of people for this, Wandering Wildlife Society and the rest of the people here for the work that they've done with this project. If you have any questions about this, you can contact us at srashid@carriep.org.